Leo, we're going to talk about Pluto and how it's going to change your life over the next 20 years. And first and foremost, I don't want people to be scared of Pluto. Pluto's energy is really going to do a big shift. Not so much Pluto itself, but it's moving from Capricorn, which is the densest, heaviest of the earth signs. It governs things deep underground, like the heaviest gravity, the strongest gravity. And Aquarius, where Pluto's moving, is the airiest of the air signs. It governs space and zero gravity. Totally different energy, vibe, feeling. So even though Pluto is still Pluto, it's going to be blending its energies with the sign that it's in and working within that sign's kind of framework. So Pluto's still Pluto, but it's going to feel different. So you're luckier than Cancer. Cancer is ending a cycle of Pluto in the same area where Pluto is going in your chart, except Cancer had to deal with Pluto in Capricorn. Totally different vibe. You're going to be dealing with Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto in Aquarius will be impacting your zone of relationships. There's a strong likelihood, and this is going to be here for 20 years. So over 20 years, you're going to be doing some major relationship growth and learning how to better be in relationship. So many of you, if you're single, this will happen by getting into a relationship. And then you'll be working on power dynamics, how you balance the power, how you release control or take more control and responsibility, owning your, what. And there's definitely some growth through relationships. So you can't grow in your relationship skills unless you're actually in a relationship. So Pluto's very likely, because it's asking you to do this work, very likely to bring people in. And as it steps into this threshold, some of you have already experienced a big breakup, or you're in the midst of a big breakup. And so it probably doesn't feel good, right? That breakup happened under really Pluto and Capricorn, because we're still there. So if you're in the middle of a big breakup, you're kind of sorting out your Pluto and Capricorn energy. And there was something about what actually got in the way of the relationship. Could have been a few things. One could be somebody's health got in the way, and that includes mental well-being got in the way. Or both. People could have been struggling with that. But also it's just like logistics. Where Capricorn is in your chart and where Pluto was, or is as I record this, but let's just pretend we're in Aquarius land now. But where Pluto has been, it's just like the day-to-day stuff, logistics. It's scheduling, getting your calendars to sync up. So there's something about logistically that just didn't work if you're in a relationship that's breaking up. So, I think if you're scared, Pluto does bring up your most deepest, darkest fears. If you're entering this time, if you're in November or entering any time after November of 2024, you may, if you're not in relationship, you may have fears that you'll never find someone. Your fears will be about the future. Should I just accept being single? Stuff like that. And the answer is to move through the fear, to figure out how you can move. Maybe that you need counseling or whatever, or read some books, or do some self-work to boost your confidence in a deeper way, and to feel good about yourself. That's going to help on this journey. Read books on relationships, how to date, how to be in relationship. I was thinking I could recommend some books, but I don't know what your issue is, so I don't want to recommend a book that will be good for one person but not another. But there's so many good books out there. You can get recommendations and see what what books get the most reads. Yeah, so this will be your quest for the next 20 years, is to strengthen this area of relationship and just get better and better at it. And you'll have to do that in relationship with a person. So you may cycle in and out of being single, but that's because you're still learning. And sometimes, we learn that the person we're with is not the right person. And that's an okay lesson to learn, even though it's not fun. Or you may find like a really strong union that once you're in it sometime over the next 20 years, you just learn how to be really strong in relationships. You do the work, you figure it out. So you could have a really strong bond forming even now as Pluto goes over this threshold. But if it's not happening now, don't despair, because it will happen at some point. And some of the work of this Pluto is really making yourself available. Starting to do the analysis now on, am I invisible? Like, am I putting myself out? Am I on any dating apps? I know people always complain about dating apps, but if you just go from work to home, or God forbid you work at home, are you ever out and about where people could meet you? Pluto is pretty strong, like any of these planets. Like, it tends to have this attraction quality, like any of the planets do. But if it's here, it's going to have this magnetic ability to pull people into your universe. But you don't want to take that for granted. There is some degree of trying that you're going to have to do. And so trying can include a lot of different things. It can include just being out and about. It can include approaching dating differently, starting to work on yourself and your fears around dating and relationship, your fears of getting hurt. Most people, it's fear of getting hurt, especially for Leos, because you wear your heart on your sleeve. You can't help it. You just wear your heart on your sleeve, and that'll probably never change. But it also makes you really vulnerable to feeling you get very wounded. Everyone gets wounded, but it's the Leo pride. Part of it's your pride gets so wounded that you take it so personally. And it's, even if someone breaks up with you and they say like they have reasons about you, it still could be that it's really about them and that it's not you at all. But a Leo is so likely to make it very personal, take it personally, and have it mean something bad about them. And that's something you need to work on too, is trying to depersonalize a breakup situation, or even if somebody has constructive criticism, to try to analyze it using that good Aquarius. Aquarius is great at analytical thinking. So with Pluto here, you can increase your skills to analyze what's actually happening, taking a step back from taking it personally. Pluto could help you here, but you do need to be mindful. You may know about yourself, Leo, that your pride gets wounded very easily, meaning you take things personally that maybe you don't need to take personally. And so that'll be a part of your journey too. You do want to be on the lookout and make sure you're not pulled in, that when you're pulling people into your orbit or people are pulling you into their orbit, you need to watch for people who use their power over you, like they're magnetic. The fact that you're attracted to them, they misuse that and take it for granted, or kind of yank your chain, or treat you, don't always respect you or treat you well because they know they have this power over you, that you're super attracted to them. So watch out for that, because you don't want to get into a long-term relationship with someone like that. You'll waste these 20 years. But as you know, sometimes a lesson has to take that long, but I'd much rather see you finding a strong connection and then working together to really build a stronger connection, even stronger connection. I think that's probably the happiest outcome, but what do I know? But I'm biased. That's what I'd rather see you do, but I understand that the universe works differently, and sometimes we learn our lessons in a way that doesn't look so good on paper, but it's very profound and ultimately good, as a learning lesson. But I mean, I like the idea of you finding someone really strong, a strong bond where you've got an equal power dynamic. Both people are respecting each other and treating each other well. But any relationship, whether it's strong or not, any relationship, even the best, you have to learn how to stay in relationship and develop those relationship skills. And I think Aquarius is actually going to help you a great deal here, because you'll be able to use your mind and your ability to analyze here in a new way with Pluto here. It gives you a different toolbox to work with. So, and a lot of focus. You'll be more committed to focusing on how can we make this work. So if you felt in the past like you didn't always, like it was hard to stay committed to making it work and wanting to make it work even if you like the person, now you're going to have a stronger level of commitment and the brain power to hopefully use the brain power to see patterns in yourself and not take it so personally. You can kind of have a drier approach to analyzing yourself, not toward the person, but because you want the love to be real and deep, but in terms of helping yourself and your partnership get through struggles. You're developing those skills. So I think it's a good placement. You are indeed luckier than Cancer. Cancer had to go through a harder Pluto cycle than the one you're going to go through. It still contains the lessons, and the mission and objective of Pluto is to help you figure out stuff around how you relate to others. But it's much lighter and brighter and more inspired. It gives you this kind of energy like questing. You're going to learn, you're going to figure it out. It's that kind of energy. So have fun with it. And I'm excited for you guys. I think it'll be good. I know, again, some of you are in the middle of a breakup or have just had a big breakup, or you anticipate you're going to have a big breakup. But hopefully you can take from this some inspiration that you're going to get help and the energy is going to shift and you won't have to relive this heavier energy that you've had. So I hope you take away that. All right, take care.